This week's Celebrity Spotlight is Miley Cyrus. Now, we know Miley's been in the news a lot. She's been kind of changing her image a lot. She's been going from one extreme to the other, and she turned out to be vastly different than when she began. Of course, she was more of a girl next door to now she's, I don't know what to call her. We're not sure yet. She's still figuring it out. So she is a Sagittarius, which I'm not surprised that she has that kind of energy, because Sagittarius can be those type of people that get the urge to like let loose and like let's hit the road, Jack kind of thing. And they do get that urge to like be crazy sometimes. So it could be because they're close to Scorpio, which is like the crazy sign. But Miley, very interestingly, has this chart that is not what you'd expect for what you see as she performs. Like, I mean, she's really like shock and awe performer. And I would have thought she would be like Madonna and all those double 8 performers, but she's not. She actually has most of her numbers concentrated on the more passive side of the chart, and it's the more sensitive side of the chart. So I find that very intriguing, because I would have thought she'd be more on the active side of the chart, but she's not. She has the arrow of inspiration. She has double 2s, which is very intuitive, very sensitive in the heart area. And she has triple 1s, which means the number of verbal self-expression. She's not really able to express her feelings, but also her ideas, because she's got double 9s, but they're isolated. So there's no other numbers around them on the chart, meaning that they're trapped energy. So they can't flow out into the physical to make them happen. So she's got a ton of ideas floating around, but when it comes to like, bringing them to fruition, it's like, well, what happened? It didn't work out the way that I saw it to be in my mind. So she ends up with a lot of frustration. And speaking of frustration, she has the arrow of frustration. So she sets the bar really high in terms of expectations, not only of her own goals, but of her expectations of other people. So she can get let down and really disappointed very easily. So I always put it into perspective with the arrow of frustration that, let's say you have a child and you're going to the zoo and there's really a lot of traffic and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to make it in time. And you've got a child who has the arrow of frustration. What you want to do is set that child up and say, look, I'm not sure if we're going to make it in time. So if we don't, let's go have ice cream instead. Then the child is like, okay, I've got another solution. So it works the same way when their children, like give them options to pick their own clothes and, let them kind of have options, because if they don't, they have a set ideal in their mind. It's like strictly set. It's like black and white, and nothing's going to change that. And then they get stuck in that spinning wheel disappointment where it might roll off someone else's back and say, oh, well, it didn't work out, we'll go do this. They don't. They get like stuck in it. So that's kind of one of her downfalls. She has really not a lot on the like I say, the active side at all. It's amazing to me, because she's such an active kind of shock and awe performer kind of thing. So just really intriguing. But her life path number is a 10, which 10s are the number of communication, of course, but also their key trait is adaptability. So that could be where the lack of the active numbers is making up the difference with the 10, with the adaptability. So this year for her, she's in a personal year of 8, so she's heading to a 9 soon, which means she's headed for some very high change. And we've already seen a lot of high change with her, so I don't know what's going to happen, but brace yourselves, because there's a lot going to go down in the hood, I'm telling you. And her gift is a 7, which she's very truth-oriented. It's like what you see is what you get with her, and she'll just be very blunt and to the point. But the interesting thing, her how is a 3. So she does it. It's almost like entertainment for her, because 3 is a social butterfly. 3 is very sunny, happy-go-lucky, not very deep. It's very kind of, up here instead of down here in the deeper realms. So it's almost like she does this whole, shocking thing shock value for the purpose of entertainment. So it's I don't know. I mean, I'm really not sure where she's headed, but she is headed for, after this cycle of 7, which is all about living and learning through hindsight, she's headed for an 8, somewhere around like her early 30s. So she's going to be really, I guess, wiser, more independent, more freedom-seeking, more, okay, I've grown up a little bit kind of energy. So I'm hoping that's the case for her, but we'll see how it progresses. But anyway, I want to say happy birthday to Miley Cyrus, and thank you for tuning in for our Celebrity Spotlight, and tune in again next week and we'll have another one on lotteryusa.com.